All right, I got 5:36. I'm gonna go ahead and call to order the Woodland Hills Metropolitan District regular board meeting for Thursday, March 24th, 2022. Like I said, at 5:36. Item 2 will be roll call.
John Martin present.
Neil Erickson present.
Sherry Regan present.
And Troy Stinson present. I did get a text from Stacy saying that she won't be here tonight. So we do have a quorum, that's 4. All right, item 3, President's welcome and remarks, and I'm gonna defer to, I do all the talking all the time. I'm gonna defer to somebody else to open us up here with the opening remarks tonight. No?
John.
First of all, welcome. I cannot, is it Ted? Ted?
Yes.
Welcome. Thank you. I was like, I just freaking replied to your email yesterday. I didn't know if I, but and then those watching at home, or watching this later at home, a lot going on. We're gonna cover a lot of things here tonight. Some that are gonna be of great benefit to the district, moving forward. I'm not even gonna touch on world affairs in this forum. I'll stick to just the district affairs. But get out and vote. There's elections going on in June, November. Everybody watching at home, get out and vote. Big thing, just make sure your voice is heard, get out and vote. Somebody want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. All right, item 4, approval or disapproval of the agenda.
I'll motion to approve the agenda as written.
I second that motion.
Resolution.
Put it in the packet of resolutions.
Oh, agenda consent. So I have a motion by Sherry and a second by Neil. Any other discussion on the agenda? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 5 will be approval or disapproval of the board minutes from the last meeting, which was the February 24th meeting. It was a long meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, you got a motion
Second.
by Sherry and a second by John. Any further discussion on the board minutes from February 24th meeting? No further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries for approval. All right, item 6 will be the attorney's report.
I have a bunch of stuff to cover. I'm looking at it. I don't know that it needs to be an executive session. I can
Fire
just.
away.
All right. We are in an upcoming arbitration with Paintbrush. We have the first meeting with the arbitrator tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. I don't think anybody knew that because that just happened. No arbitration is going to happen. It's just kind of an introduction with the arbitrator of how we're going to proceed. So, but it's a major step forward. The arbitrator is picked. That's who's conducting the meeting tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We have the ongoing dispute between Woodman and Paintbrush, which hopefully will get resolved through the course of this arbitration. That's first. Okay. Second item, the service plan. We're in the midst of preparing amendments to the service plan to address, primarily address the debt limit given the RO expansion requirement which could be in the order of over $30 million, we are going to address cap on the debt service, which involves receiving approval by the county. We've been in contact with the county, and they're going to conduct a kind of an initial review, if you will, to assist in the form of the packet. The packet itself has several issues, or several elements. Element one is, why do we need a change in the debt service? And thanks to John McGill and his folks, the drafting of that is done. The second big element is how we're gonna pay for it. And that is in the midst of being done. Carter and some folks he's got assisting him are drafting that language. So that's all in process right now. It's not completed. The financial, the why do we need it part is done. The financial part is not done. The meeting with El Paso County is not set yet because we don't have anything to present to them yet. They know that we're on a 90-day timeline. I'm hopeful we will get it done within that timeline. There is a specific person assigned to handling service plans. She's very knowledgeable and very cooperative, so it's all, no, Ruiz, R-U-I-Z, I can't say it right. Nancy? I don't think it's Nancy. Anyway, Ruiz is her last name. On four-way, the district was approached by Peter Marks. He was told by our enterprise director, in my opinion as well, no activity till he shows up to prove his financial ability to perform. Mostly it's just been talk, and we haven't seen any commitment. So there's nothing going on with him right now. He wants us to do something, but I think we're pretty firm on the fact, to use my joke, no ticky, no washi, no money, no project. HOA, one of the questions that was posed was, can the district effectively take over the activities of an HOA? And the answer is yes, but the HOA has to agree to it. So you can't force an agreement, you have to have their agreement before you can do it. But statutorily, it's possible, so if you get their agreement. The district purchased a piece of property. I was peripherally involved because there was issues with the deed. The short version is it had problems, and it's fixed. There was a Cora response, which took some considerable time sorting things out, but finally got done, and Carter responded to it, and we have been paid, I think, Carter, am I correct?
That's correct.
The district has been paid for the time that staff spent responding to the Cora request. Then last item is there was a mediation on March the 1st with Paintbrush. I should have that in part of Paintbrush. There was a mediation meeting on March the 1st here. I was here, and Carter and Troy, and it did not settle. That's why the arbitration is going forward. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 major issues with subparts to all of them. So that's the report.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, are there questions?
Any questions on that?
Why would we wanna take over an HOA's duties?
It was not a matter, that was not the intent of that question, taking over the HOA.
No, it wasn't, nor, then I didn't pose it correctly. It wasn't taking over the HOA, it was taking over some of the duties of.
No,
Okay.
that's not it at all.
All
So
right.
the question was posed because of the fact that we have 11 filings. We have 10 filings that have no HOA enforcement, but 1 filing that is subject to independent HOA enforcement, which some of their residents have complained, saying that it's disparaging the fact that they get notices and things for having RVs parked, having trailers, several things. There are landscaping that dies when we're in a drought and they can't sustain it, things like that. But, and we as the overall district, we can't do anything to provide any type of relief for them because they're subject to the independent HOA. So the question was posed, is there a switch or a mechanism, because 10 out of the 11 of our filings have no HOA, and we have no HOA enforcement that was transferred from the developer to the district over those, could they be included since the overall district has no enforcement authority over those 10, that 11th one, that it could be decided that they would fall within the majority and not have an HOA anymore? That was the question, is there a mechanism there, being that the 95% of our district is not enforceable by an HOA, but then that small piece in filing 11 is.
So the short answer is yes, if they agree.
But the HOA would have to agree, they would lose money. And for the residents in that filing to get rid of that HOA, I think it has to meet a 67% threshold of the vote of the homeowners to do away with it.
And I don't know what their
And it's always been a
provide.
50-50 split talking to them. So that was the whole point of that question. It wasn't a matter of us trying to take over for their HOA, it was just a matter of fairness district-wide, was the point of the question. And I understand that some of the folks do like having the HOA in keeping, and it's primarily the golf course properties. But there is the opinion of, why is it, they're paying fines and fees to an HOA for the same thing that the people across the street don't have to pay anything, or don't have to, abide by any kind of enforcement. So that was the point. The other thing is I can go in a little bit, just the overview,
Sure.
30,000-foot view of paintbrush, right?
Sure.
We talked about paintbrush and then we went into mediation on March 1st. So Paintbrush Hills has come to us with several complaints over the last few years of, they don't feel their residents should have to pay the same rate as Woodland Hills residents for the sewer treatment. They feel like they have been unjustly charged an disproportionate amount, and they actually pay less than our residents because we don't charge them for the collection, they collect that over there. So the other piece is they pay a very minimal tap fee compared to the normal folks. And so the IGA is very long, confusing, and does not read well. And I think everybody was in agreement in that, including the mediator, that it kind of reads back on itself in several places. So needless to say, we went to mediation and could not reach an agreement. So we are going to go to arbitration. We've drafted a bunch of things that we would like changed, including the IGA in its entirety. Because that IGA was written for the old wastewater plant, and we have since have the new plant, and it specifically states in there that we would have ongoing discussions to either merge or consolidate the two districts at a future time, which they did not like at the mediation when that was brought up. So we are going to go into arbitration and have a former judge basically provide us some direction on the IGA. We're requesting that we enter into negotiations on a new IGA that is more fair towards Woodman Hills and our residents, but is also fair to the Paintbrush Hills residents, but makes it a little bit more fair right now. So the IGA is on our website if you're watching this, so you can read that, and you will notice several differences in ways that that Paintbrush Hills actually makes money off of Woodland Hills in tap fees.
Can I have a footnote?
You can.
Where does this judge come from? The answer is there's an organization called Judicial Arbiter Group, or JAG, and it's composed of ex-judges. And they do mediations and arbitrations, and there's probably 20 of them. And so we went through and you get to pick who you want. So we went through there with the paintbrush folks and us, and we went back and forth as to who it might be, and we agreed on, well, they're all former judges, Judge French, who will be the arbitrator excuse me, in this matter. So, and JAG is spelled out in the IGA, and I just saw while we were getting started, I've got an email from them, which I'll deal with later on. So that's where we are. 8 o'clock tomorrow, just the introduction, no activity per se. That's it.
What else did we talk about? Oh, Ted touched on the piece of land. The piece of land we purchased is a piece of land that's part of the RO expansion for brine drying property. So it's, if I remember right, 12 miles southeast of Woodman Hills here. And it's almost 105 acres. We paid $415,000 for 105 acres, which in the property across the street was 40 acres, and they wanted $725,000 for it. So we got lucky, and that was thanks to Wally spending time on Realtor.com while he's at work.
That's what I'm paid to do.
Sorry, I had to throw it in there.
You want me to go through the rest of it?
What else we got? I just wanted to give them a little bit more
Sure.
explanation on it.
Four-way,
So four-way, as you all know, I was elected to the board in 2018, myself and Sherry, and we had an IGA in place with Four-Way Ranch. Peter Martz, Four-Way Ranch is just over here off of Stapleton and Eastonville. And so it's made up of, I believe there's 40 individual lot properties with I'm going just off of memory, but I think it's 40 lots that are on septic and their own water over there at Four-Way Ranch. They have a large development property that they've had called Waterbury, which Peter Martz and his investors were the board members. There was a legal battle between the two. There's some type of settlement and an appeal going on right now. But needless to say, they had paid us the initial down payment. They were obligated to build a $2 million, at the time it was $1.5 million lift station. They did all the permit and everything, never built it, never progressed the development any, never made the payments like they were supposed to the district, so we voided the IGA and ended the agreement with them. And we kept the down payment, and we still have it in the bank. So they have engaged us again, because it's, everybody that watches the county commissioner meetings and what's going on in the county knows that Grandview Reserve is a new, I think it's 3,200 homes. Is it 32 or 37? Because Waterbury's 1,200. 35. So between the two of them, D.R. Horton's the builder on record out there, but they're looking at building another, I guess it's almost 5,000 homes out there. Pretty cool. Between the two. And Mr. Martz came to us asking if we could negotiate a new IGA, but Peter Martz is part of the group with Grandview Reserve as well. It's all together. Waterbury and Grandview is going to be one, I believe, one whole package when all's said and done. But we are negotiating with them as far as for wastewater service. Nonetheless, it's a matter of cost when we talk about redoing the service plan and raising the debt limit. So we're looking at potentially raising the district's debt limit by $30 million to a total of, we're at 16.2 now, to a total of 40 million. And that is to pay for a RO plant that is required by Reg 41 from the EPA, and which is what Cherokee's been going through, is what we're gonna have to go through to get our new permit for the wastewater treatment facility. So with that, there are things that have to happen. One, the service plan debt limit has to be raised on the district. Two, and this is done, right?
Yes.
We can talk about this. This
Yeah,
is
you can
done.
talk about
Okay. And our comptroller over Carter Boyan there has spoken, and we've gotten a deal with, is it Key Bank?
Yes.
Key Bank to refinance our bond and our COP lease, which will give us the money to build this RO plant. Now, we're hoping not to have to use all of it. We're hoping that by bringing in developers to build these houses out here, not for water, we're not giving up water, but to take their to expand, when we expand that plant, to take the sewer treatment into our plant. Those revenues from those fees will help pay back the debt for that expansion. So we'll defray some of the costs to our district, which we feel is, as a board and as a district, we feel is, if we can minimize the impact and not have to exponentially raise rates like the other districts had to with their RO plan, that's in the best interest of all of us, since we all live here and are all in this together. That's where we're at with that. So the bond refinance will save the district. I know we're talking about borrowing a lot of money, but it's bonds, and it will save by refinancing at the lower interest. This is lower than the 16 interest rate, folks. So this is actually a better deal than they got in 2016 refinancing things. And overall, I think it saves the district, what, $19.2 million?
Yes.
So big chunk of savings. We're borrowing more money, but we're actually saving more money in the long run, if that makes sense. So thank you for working on that. I think you're involved. Neil, you were in on that too, for taking care of that and getting that done. And this stuff, folks, has just happened fast, really fast, because it's a time crunch. We don't know when Reg 41 hits us, but we've so far negotiated the obstacles we've needed to get ourselves in position to continue to be prosperous in Woodward Hills. So
Plus, it's no secret that the interest rates are hiking, so.
they are going to drastically
We're
go
gonna
up.
see 3 more moves from the Fed at least this year. So we've gotta get in our financing and get things settled as quickly as possible.
I've seen that. It looks like we are actually gonna have got this done at the exact bottom
Yes.
of the interest rates. So I don't think it could have been better timing.
We're still sledgehammer again.
Yeah.
It'll fit. We'll make it work, but
We'll make it
it's
work.
gonna be down to the wire.
Did I miss anything?
No, you don't know.
All right.
Gave the background to all this stuff, so I'm just reporting what is, and you're reporting why.
Thank you, Ted.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I just want to put some context to it, because we field a lot of questions from folks that go back and watch these videos and read the minutes on why we're doing stuff. And so I just want to make sure that we're being 100% upfront with folks when we can, when we reach that point, and whether it be negotiations or a done deal, to where we can share that information with the public to let them know. They put us in these seats to represent them, so I want to let them know what they're getting for their vote, us representing them, so. All right, nothing else?
Have you reported on the election?
Not yet. It's gonna be, it's
Is it on
coming
there
up.
somewhere?
Yeah, it's on item 8.
Okay.
Item 7, approval or disapproval of the financials.
Right, so, February closeout, we're still looking very strong, both revenue and expenses. Focusing on kind of the main revenue lines, tap fees continue to be a major driver of our revenue. As we get more into summer and spring, we'll see the district revenue from monthly rates start to come in higher. Right now, we're not meeting the budget right there, but the main months of the summer, we usually far exceed, which typically make up the loss that we see in the beginning of the year and the end of the year. Park and Rec going really strong with rentals and just additional fees that are being generated from there, so great job to Jed and his team. On the expenses side, the directors are also doing a really nice job keeping expenses down where they can. We have seen, obviously like anybody else, expenses go up. For example, locating fees went up quite a bit from year over year. That was just a contract that we have with Black Diamond, so you'll see that in here as well. But overall, expenses, or revenue, I'm sorry, was up. So total income was 864. Our budget was 921, so we were a little short to budget there. But from an expense perspective, we came in at 368 on a budget of 691. So net income came in at 495 on a budget of 230. So again, we're balancing out our expenses and revenues really well. Expect that to continue to be the case for at least the next 2 months. Once we get in the summer, we'll start to see that revenue really spike up with more building and what I was talking about with the fees. So, again, strong month for the district and a very good cash basis as well. Lots of cash on hand for projects and any other expenses that might come along. Any questions?
Do you expect anything slowing down this summer due to the slowdown in builds?
So I too am watching the financial markets. We have seen interest rates on mortgages go up to 4+%. So I do expect that's gonna have an impact on building at some point. But what we're hearing from bankers as well as developers is that they're still going full steam ahead, trying to get their master plans built out before they see the top end of these interest rates. So I think it's gonna be a mad dash over the next 2 years on the build side to get everything built out as much as possible, because cost of everything is going up. So I think these next 2 years is where we're really gonna see a lot of revenue continue to come in. But after that, it's really gonna slow down, assuming the Fed doesn't make any other choices to reduce the interest rates. They're saying that they may in 2024, so it's gonna go up in 22, 23, and then down in 24. But that's to level out inflation, because inflation's hovering around 9%, and the Fed wants to get it down to 2%. So you have an even interest rate, which would be about 4%, is really what they're trying to get to. 2% in inflation, 2% on cost of money. So that's what we're projecting right now. Again, if the Fed does come back and say that they're going to raise interest rates by 1/4 point for the next 4 meetings of the year, or 1/2 point instead of 1/4 point, you could expect to see those mortgage rates go up significantly. So you could see the building start to slow down the back half of the year. But again, that's all up in the air, so we don't really know what's gonna happen until those meetings.
Fair enough. I mean, we're actually seeing that already, so rates are 4.25 to 5+, so.
Yep.
Which historically is not really that high, but you compound that with.
2% for the last,
$125,000. That's a pretty huge impact, so we'll see.
How are you guys doing on like fuel, things like that? I know with the higher cost in fuel, the higher cost in maintenance, parts, all that stuff as far as getting parts and replacement maintenance on everything.
Pain.
Is it?
Yeah, a lot of the main stuff I'm working with, there's things that are months out.
Is there anything we got on a pre-scan list that you guys can put ahead of time? You guys don't need to overstock materials. I know chemicals were an issue last year.
So, yeah, chemicals, I ain't gonna make it this year. I kinda put the budget together, price hikes went up too high, but I can't stop buying them, so.
Yeah, there's no choice in it, so.
Meters, we had ordered meters this last month to get ahead of the chip shortage. And there's also, other districts, not just in this area, but countrywide. We're looking at their budgets and seeing what they can spend right now under the same program. And they have yet to make their decisions, but it won't be until the later part of May, early June, when they approve all their financials to go forward with their products. So I went and ordered what I can to get ahead of that for the new bills going in, so. But those meters, just one component is months out, like 2 to 3 months out.
We've already got an order in line for those, or no?
I already did.
Okay.
The main order we already put in for the meter upgrade, so we were expecting our first shipment in May. But what he's referring to is all the new builds that we have on the books, especially Challenger. So just making sure that we stay out in front of that, as JD's done a really good job of seeing that coming and just getting out in front of it, so.
So on the backside, there are some things, mechanisms that be in place here after we do our solar refinancing, I think we'll be able to utilize.
Yes,
So we'll probably discuss that later.
yes.
Perfect.
Any other discussion on the financials?
I like the new layout. I
It
think it's
is,
a lot cleaner.
it's new again,
Yeah. I was just looking at that and you changed it up a little bit.
yeah.
It's very clean and a lot easier to read
Yeah.
and more transparent, so thank you for doing that.
Yep, no problem.
Now, if you change it again next month, we're gonna need like a little cheat sheet on how to navigate it.
Just circle it for me in crayon and just
Yes.
say, here's,
Hey, mine's circled, I can give you my copy.
do green for good.
Red for bad.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the financials?
A motion to approve the financials.
Second.
All right, got a motion by Neil and a second by John. Any further discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay. Item 8 is cancellation of the 2022 election resolution. So, for those that are here and those that are at home, which one is it? This one?
It's a single paper,
Yeah, with the actual, oh, this is,
it's right there.
so, the way Metropolitan District elections work is, we had 3 seats up for reelection, myself, Sherry, and Stacy's. And we had 3 nominations come in, myself, Sherry, and Stacy. It was posted everywhere, there's a list of requirements by the state, where they had to post everything, advertise, all that, and we had no other nominations come in, by the deadline, so, by statute, you can always get a copy of this will be posted, you'll be able to get a copy of it. It says, whereas the board of directors of the district is authorized to cancel the election by resolution and declare candidates elected at the close of business on the 63rd, before the election to be conducted on May 3rd, 2022. And whereas the board of directors has duly certified that there were not more candidates for director than offices to be filled, including candidates filing affidavits of intent to be write-in candidates. So now therefore pursuant to 1-13.5-513 and 1-11-1033 of the Colorado Revised Statutes, the board hereby cancels the regular election to be conducted on the 3rd day of May 2022 by formal resolution. With that being said, the board declares the following candidates elected for the following terms of office. Stacy Popovich for a 3-year term that will run through till May of 2025. Sherry Rain to a 3-year term that will run until May of 2025. And Troy Stinson for a 3-year term that will run until May of 2025. And so, with that being said, can I get a motion to approve or accept the resolution canceling the May 3rd, 2022 election due to having 3 nominees and only 3 positions available?
That's pretty long.
Elected
Form
folks.
is saying that.
3 for,
No,
3 folks.
we'll make it
position. a canceled election in the event of failure for 3 people.
Hmm.
You have 2 things that happen.
That's what this does.
I know the motion on the floor that you're about to put on the floor. I'm just suggesting, in addition to canceling the election, ratify those 3 people for those 3 spots. It's just a ratification.
That's what it does. Board declares upon candidates.
I'm not disagreeing with that, you asked for a motion. Yeah, it's not even a resolution, 2 motions.
Well, it's one resolution, so I'm just asking for a motion to approve the resolution, which covers both items. On one resolution.
All right.
A motion to approve the resolution as it's written.
Second.
Okay, since you're one of the ones being accepted, I'll take the motion from Neil and the second from John. And all in favor for approval of the resolution?
Aye.
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 Any disapprove? All right, motion carries 4-0 to accept the resolution. And just so it's out there, next year there are 2 seats open. I don't know the exact date, it will be the first week of May, but I think Neil's seat and John's seat will both be open for re-election next May. Good on that, here's your- Item 9, Park and Rec report.
What is this?
This is the good stuff. That's the good stuff right there.
It's the smallest.
This is 1 page. This isn't even a complete page.
We've been slacking off for 30 days. There's not a lot to talk about.
You know, Jed stopped by.
We ought to be about out of money by now.
I'm about to ask for a lot more, so I'll start.
That's bad timing.
Yeah.
That's why it's so short, he's trying to give us the sugar first.
Maintenance doing a good job, real busy. Locker rooms, bathrooms, they are officially completed. I think they came out great. New benches, new lockers, you name it is in there, and companies did a nice job with that. Equipment for the summer, guys were cleaning it, oiling, greasing what they need to, getting it all up and running for the summer months. We are ahead of the curve with summer maintenance help. We have 5,
Nice.
which I think is gonna be fantastic.
Wow.
We got a lot of stuff going on, so we have hired 5 already and ready to go, so that's positive compared to last year where we couldn't keep up with the mowing and all that type of stuff.
How many more were you looking for?
Say again?
How many more are you looking for?
None.
None, just the 5?
So I can stop helping?
Yes, we don't need your help this summer, and knock on wood, they all show up day 1 and we're good to go. But that was the number we were looking for. I'll let you know if somebody backs out, but they've all signed the paperwork, so. Had minor things, water fountain issues and that type of thing, repainted some of the hallways and locker rooms to kind of match what we had done. So the guys have been doing a good job, and we've been covering holes in our boardroom with big clocks, so we're looking for more clocks to do that. So, activities all going well. Right now promoting a lot of summer camps. Spring soccer league is really taking off with the amount of people signed up already. Summer concerts, cooking classes, basketball events, pickleball tournament. You kind of see the whole list there, and promoting a lot of different things, which leads to the revenue part, which Carter had mentioned. You see the number brought in through that door, 13,000 and change in February. March, when we wrote this, was 11,000. It's up to, as of this morning, $16,670 so far in March. To date, as of this morning, a little over 45,000 that we've brought in, when compared to all our previous years that we can tap into. It's way, way above what we've done in the past. So again, all positive stuff. Usage is way up. That March number is vastly different now. I brought it. It's 2,800 and change now instead of 2,100 that walked through the door. Balcony bathroom. JDS Hydro's started the permit processing, the soil sample's been ordered. The contract, talk about price increases, went up. So I think I've talked to John and Sherry a little bit about this, and I can't remember if we talked a little bit about it or not. So here it is, the contract for the bathroom, the building of the bathroom, the actual structure is $97,000. We've budgeted 200. That does not include the pad underneath, bringing the plumbing from the road and the wastewater lines to the site, and the electric. So that and the permit fees from JDS Hydro and their payment, we've basically around 50,000. So if you put them all together, it's 150,000 is what we're talking about for the bathroom, which is again under that 200,000 and way different than Rise Construction, Hammers Construction, Brightview, all those different estimates that we got a while back. So initially, before this morning, I was gonna ask you if we're good to sign this contract, but I wanna hold off on that conversation, and I'll get back to it. So with that, just kind of keep that in the back of your mind.
What about our tap fees?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Just so we're ordering.
Wally needs a new fishing boat.
Our new build. We're still waiting on the transition ramps, although I had a conversation 2 days ago, they are in. They're just working on scheduling to actually come and install those. Wall padding, as you know, have been ordered. I'm still waiting on a delivery and install date from those. The revenue, so far, and again, it's not massive numbers, but we are starting to bring money in through that gym, which is a little over 10,000 actually at this point.
Is that for the month or the total?
That's total since we opened up in mid-December,
Alright.
so it gives you a rough idea of what we can bring in, if you break that down per month. Outdoor pavilion, footprint decks is still working on the engineering design. They've also ordered a soil sample, I believe that's coming Tuesday or Wednesday. They're doing that this coming week. Rentals are through the roof. We have everything from sports organizations, birthday parties, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts this past weekend. I know Carter's part of that organization. I'm calling it Dog Rescue, I can't remember the exact name, El Paso.
El Paso County Canine Rescue.
K9, they had an event last weekend, and I think you could talk to a little bit more than I can, but went well from what I hear. They were able to have about half of their
We
puppies
brought
adopted.
40 dogs to the event, and we were able to get 17 of them adopted, so definitely a really good event, and thank you to Jed and his team for willing to make that space available for the rescue. It's hard to get a indoor space that will allow dogs and traffic like that, so it was really good. We are, just a plug, having another one this Saturday as well, so anybody that is watching at home, or any of you board members that need another dog,
Yes.
come by and see. We got a lot of great dogs out there. I got one, that's got your name on it, Troy. It's a Husky Belgian Malinois mix. Mm-hmm.
He seems like a chow
He
company.
needs a police
Chihuahua.
dog, he needs a German Shepherd.
That's what a Belgian Malinois is.
You know, the good thing about dogs is that.
How about a Labradoodle?
Kids is that
No.
dogs listen.
I have a shepherd,
And they
a
don't bark
lab,
back.
and a Ridgeback.
All you gotta do is get one in front of Troy
I
and
know.
he'll go home.
Just come Saturday. Come see. Come pet the dogs. Bring the boys.
I'll give Sam a email after the.
Although I could get one of the little chihuahuas, put a sweater on it, and bring it in here to the meetings all the time.
You could. You could.
And just teach it how to yap at Jed.
My point is, we have all sorts of different rentals going on and things are going well. I'm gonna skip drainage because that's kind of the issue right now. Pools, Front Range Aquatech, we've ordered all those pieces, the contracts have been looked at, signed. I believe they wanted 50% on a couple of those.
Yeah, the ones that required materials.
Yep, so I think that all that's been ordered and placed, and so we're just kind of waiting for them to get the stuff in and get over here and do their work. Utility vehicles, the two basic gators have been ordered. Last I spoke to Joe, which was about a week ago, give or take, I think both are expected in somewhere in June, July. So that's kind of the date. The old one, we have a contract ready to go. One of the maintenance guys is willing to buy it for $500. The trading value was zero from, well, you talked to him, so you can speak to that, from John Deere. So getting a few bucks back, the scrap metal place was offering $200 as a flat rate for that, and, anyway.
Are we keeping it until a new one show up?
Yes.
Because I have seen it running around,
Yes,
so I know.
we're definitely using it until, the new ones come in, we have to.
What was the estimate on the dates for the new ones?
Somewhere in June and July.
Alright.
I heard Wally's willing to let you borrow his until, if there's any other issue.
Wally's a little bit of a pain in the ass, and he won't give us the second gear, no, I'm just
He doesn't like my rental fee.
So that's another positive thing. So back to the drainage and then the bathroom, and they're kind of connected in a weird way. We had hired Brightview, and again, I don't know if you guys have this or not, but a kind of overview of everything.
It's on the website.
So we've hired Brightview to do a preliminary, last board meeting, we talked about 30,000, 35,000, where we could go out and get like a company like Labor Ready and start re-whacking and see what the next problem is. That 34,000 that we spent with Brightview has basically, they've started to trim away everything. I don't know if you've kind of seen the different spots, and now that we can actually see what's in there, we're finding the problems, which, walking through the guide, we have all sorts of issues where the waterways are just either overgrown or filled in with everything, which is then blocking up water, which then allows that water to build up in those different areas, which then amounts to the massive growth. His projection's been 12 to 15 years since we've done anything, and you guys have lived here, so I don't know, you can attest to that or not. But what they need to do is, after trimming everything back and down, is then basically redig all of these channels for the water to have a nice clean flow all the way down to the Safeway Pond and out, or vice versa to the Bennett Pond and out. Right now, it's starting to look good, but it doesn't solve your water problem. The verbal estimate is somewhere around $250,000 more. That's the negative. The positive is, the email from Denali Water, the estimate was $1 million. So, obviously, going through Brightview is obviously gonna be a lot cheaper than going through Denali Water.
What's Brightview's guarantee?
Say that again?
What's Brightview's guarantee? Is it comparable?
Again, I haven't seen it, it's just a verbal
Okay.
I
conversation.
mean, will that be like just the initial price to catch everything up?
So that digs out all your trenches, so now, and that takes out and redesigns Bennett Pond, where the flow coming in from both sides, the water goes exactly where it's supposed to. It doesn't pool up like it's doing right now in all different
They're
areas.
using the Falcon area, what is it, stormwater plan or whatever to go off of for those drainage runs and stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
so with that, that gets you back to square one, where the water is flowing correctly.
Okay,
Then there's going to be a yearly maintenance, which I haven't talked to him about yet. So all that growth, so if you take like the disc golf course area, you know, your growth is so far out, you're talking 30, 40 feet on both sides, but once you get the water back to where it's supposed to, you know, his explanation was your growth of cattails and things is now only 5 to 10 feet out on each side, back to where it should be, a normal, which is a lot easier to maintain, and that's something I think we can then do in-house versus then hire these things
did
out.
we ever figure out where this damn remote control mower is at?
I don't know, you were there when I was cleaning out the garage with my maintenance guys and organizing and inventorying what we have.
The old general
It is not
manager
there
had come
for
to the
us.
board, I think it's 2 years ago, about this remote control mower to mow them cattails. so we wouldn't get tractors in there stuck.
Speaking of that, they got
Might be in
theirs
his house,
stocked
it's
really
longer.
good, they had to get a train
Mhm.
crane right there, and get that sucker out, but, so the good thing is we actually now can see the problems, we can visualize exactly what has to be done, we have a verbal on what the price is. Going back to the bathroom, we have.
Can I ask one question on
Yes.
the drainage?
Yeah,
We had talked a couple weeks ago, you were wondering what kind of equipment they were gonna use to get in there and mow all that stuff down.
they just have massive tractors that are, that's it, you know, with these
Big
huge
tractors, big
attachments.
decks, yeah, they got those there.
Which we can then go buy, but I don't think we even need those things, these are massive brush hogs, basically. But I don't think we need that, if we can get this thing back to where it's supposed to be, you don't have this massive growth. And then obviously you maintain it year to year.
But it's
versus
something
letting
once,
it go.
once it dries out and the water goes to where it's
He's
supposed to
saying the
go,
cattails are gone. You're-
we should be able to get in there with the mowers we
what
have.
yeah.
But how are they gonna isolate, I mean, are they putting in rock base, or what
So
are
they wanna build
proposing
up
doing?
they wanna build up the berms, right, when they dig this out, they're kind of, you know, you explained that we're more kind of scooping it out onto both sides. So you're building up the berm, so your channel is really, it's gonna be 4 to 5 feet wide and 3 to 4 feet deep. And the water really then obviously has
You
its
cut
proper
off the
channel.
water supply to the plants on the side, so that's what.
Right now, it can't go anywhere. If you walk with
cattails
me,
won't go
and
that
you guys can walk with me tomorrow, we were walking today after I met with this guy, the water has zero place to go. So it just pools and gets bigger and bigger and bigger over time. And you just have a massive amount of brush and growth going on that is a bear for them to
And
get.
I believe our stormwater plan is that all that water needs to run down to the exfiltration gallery over by Falcon High School, or Falcon Elementary.
So question for you is, you know, some of the things that are happening, so on that side versus on this side for Woodman Hills, a lot of these are actually supposed to be maintained by the county on this side.
Yeah,
So, the dilemma is that they came back a couple of years ago and kind of trenched out a little bit, but not a lot. And in some areas, not enough. But I think, can we get the county to engage on both sides for all the areas that they're supposed to address?
say that last piece again, can we do what?
Get them to engage on the drainage areas that they're supposed to be responsible for, because they only did half of it last year,
As far as
a
county?
couple of years ago, yeah, in Pasco County. So has anybody
Make
talked
the
to
phone
them?
call and.
They have a plan, and every year they do so many throughout the county.
Sure.
So I would engage with them and see where they're
Yeah, I'd be
at,
happy to make
which
that phone
one's
call.
out here.
Yeah,
Um,
I know we get that complaint every year.
Yeah.
We get phone calls, especially out here and by CCW and on the main road here.
Yeah, the trenching's a little weak around, you know,
Yeah.
especially around the road access way, and they'll definitely, you know, they'll wanna take care of that, because it'll stay off the road, but, you know, it all heads up from, you know, a little further back where I live.
Yep.
You know, I haven't had such an issue, but, the houses that are further down from here just get buried, and we had a rainstorm one year, and I think, they filled up those gullies about 6 feet of water,
Wow.
so, it says there's not enough runoff.
Yeah, there's an issue. I mean, we
Yeah.
all know there's an issue. It's a matter of,
Yeah.
do you wanna just do it piecemeal and, you know, say, hey, we'll start at Safeway and dig all that out and redo, you know, they've mowed it all down.
Sure.
But now you can actually see where the channel used to be or should be and what the problems really are. You know, and he's basically saying you need to budget around $30,000 for each main area. So Safeway Pond is one main area. There's then one in the middle of the back 9, so it's between that and Easton Mill Road. So another 30 for like the disc golf course right by District. And then moving up, you have right by Community Park there. You have another 30. Bennett Pond, they're estimating 50,000. So he just said with all of the different areas, budget 250.
I think you'd wanna
So-
address the main waterway, and, you know, the exit first and then work its way uphill,
Yep,
right? So it alleviates that problem, but, what I'm curious about is if any of those areas actually cross over with the county too.
according to this, what we've been going by, what we're working on is just ours.
Okay,
We're not even talking about.
Yeah, I think theirs is only these main drainages on the main thoroughfares.
and then we kinda tossed this around a while back, and it may be super silly, But, have you guys approached like Pikes Peak Community College and their biology
I
department?
did, we reached out to them and, what's the other local one, UCCS?
UCCS as well?
They do not have a program for that stuff. If we wanted manual labor
Yeah,
for
not so
free.
much, not so much,
I
not so
know, we
much on
touched
the
base.
dig side, but, you know, I don't know if they're doing anything on the biology side or botany side, you know, where they're doing educational programs,
You know,
you know, and having those guys come out and actually plant things in those areas that will actually restrict the drainage. You know, because that's what they're getting an education for.
Yeah.
Right? So forestry, land management, some different things that they can utilize there. And those instructors can actually use a live site to deal with, you know, for people that do hunting, fishing, game and all that stuff, you understand what I'm talking about, building areas to work in, so,
Yeah, I mean, if we could goose hunt, man,
heck yeah. Get some quail, get it laid out there. Chuckers.
Jed, I also didn't see, it's been a long time, or well, since I looked at that map, I think when we first started talking about this, but what about right along Eastonville Road? From-
the French way through, like past district office and all that,
Yeah,
they were working on that today. That's
Okay.
part of what we're working on.
okay.
So financially, right, back to the dollars about it. In my mind, and this is just my opinion, if we're doing it, they're here, they know the problems, they have the machinery.
I'd say finish the quote, get the rest of the,
Okay.
I guarantee as far as I'm concerned, because $1 million is a lot more expensive than what they're quoting.
and we need to know the whole plan. I
Yeah.
mean, where are we getting the money from?
Well, that was my next conversation. If you forego the bathroom, I'm just talking out loud, if you forego the bathroom this year, you have $200,000 to play with.
Isn't that money budgeted for the
We
bathroom?
can't, we already budgeted, we already allocated.
Can you not?
It's been
Okay.
allocation, so, yeah.
So then
that's
my
not
next
copied.
conversation, which I know Carter and I talked about briefly, and we had different ideas for this lottery money, is to take a portion of that lottery money that's there, possibly use
I
it
don't think
for,
we can use it for that.
You can. I validated.
I thought it had to go to the rec centers themselves.
No, drainage counts. So as long as it's owned by the district, the property, and it's a park and rec expenditure, it can be used for drainage.
Center maintenance guidelines will qualify based on that. Yeah, so we have to take a look at budget funds because that fund is growing quickly.
Well, we haven't spent anything yet.
right,
So we've got a little over
Yeah.
$200,000 in that.
Due diligence, and on
accounts.
top of that, to boot, if you take the bulk of bathrooms out of garage, you can rent it as a 3-bedroom, 2-car garage home.
But also, if you approach them and say, we're just interested in doing all this at once, what's the best price you can give us if we just engage in a contract, get it all done at once, we may get a break.
Make sure you get their guarantee, because the site is, if they start working on the south end,
Yeah.
cutting that all out, and they work on the north end and it fills back in, they gotta take care of
Yep.
it, right?
makes sense.
So,
Am I gonna get a chance to look at these contracts?
No, we're writing them in crayon and.
I said no.
I mean, what we've been through already, each time I looked at it, there were issues.
So one of the new processes I think you guys are working on is that you'll get the contract, take a look at it, review it, submit it to Carter. Carter takes it, he'll submit it to legal, he'll submit it to the board. We'll take a look at it, rewrite it back, hand it back, and then we'll move forward from there.
You got it.
So,
So once I get these numbers, I'll forward them on, and then you guys can make that decision. But you have a big bill coming your way at some point, or piecing it together, as far as getting that drainage, and at this point.
Not
if
compared
you
to what
wanna-
it could be if it goes,
No,
if it
absolutely.
continues to go unchecked.
Yep. Well, that's your dilemma, right? If you just leave it, it's gonna cause more problems, and it's gonna cost you a lot more money down the
that's what
road.
happened before this board came in place, so, you know, so we gotta figure out how to address it before then. Now that this board's in place, I think we take a look at that a little closely.
And then,
you know.
if you're interested, we can take a walk tomorrow if you guys wanna see it in person. I mean, it's pretty impressive, the
I would
building.
love to, I gotta be on a phone call with Wally,
Okay.
so.
So anyway, that's that. I guess since you can't use the balcony bathroom money for this project, right, it's earmarked for that already, back to that conversation, how do you want me to proceed with the bathroom? Again, it's one of these, if you keep pushing it down the road, the expenses will just keep going up.
No, I would do the bathroom, you have the,
We've already allotted the funds.
the funds are allocated for that.
Yeah.
So if everything jives and the fund, and we already have the funds there, get that done. And over
Best
with.
contractor, best deal, and.
The sooner we get the bathroom done, the sooner we know how much money is left out of that.
Absolutely.
And you've
Because that
allocated-
money's allocated until that project's done, and then that money can be brought back to wherever,
It goes into that K-PEX fund for the following year.
which is fine, because you're gonna need to engage again for maintenance of the runoff again the next year, so what you're talking about is we need to use money, like lottery funds, to do the gallery now,
Yeah,
and then whatever we have left out of the bathroom, we can allocate towards next year's maintenance of that
that
project,
makes sense.
and it's a win-win for everybody.
You got it.
And then-
And one last thing on the bathroom, you did send the email to the guy that materials that go up, materials won't go up.
We're on the phone with me, do you not believe that it's?
No, I just want everybody else to hear that,
Okay.
because I mentioned it and kinda got
You're not
really.
trusting me here, John?
Mm,
Yes. he sent
What are
it
you
to me.
asking for, approval of the contract?
Yes, and for somebody sign that. I know,
I've already reviewed it.
he's already looked at it.
Has he ever read it?
Who's this?
No.
Before we get roped into it?
Yeah, the materials increase is a classic example. There's a caveat in these things, it says, we're not, it's premised on the price of materials now. If the price of the materials goes up, then the bid goes up.
So that's exactly what John was referring to. When we were on the phone together, I shot, his name's Rob Veals, who we've been dealing with that exact question. 4 months from now, when we're in the middle of this project, is the price going to increase? And the answer is no.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
we'll see what they have to
Tear
say.
down homes that way right now, on new roads. so.
When do you need to hear from me?
Tomorrow.
And this is the best bid out of the lot?
Yeah, Amherst was over 200, Brightview was over 300. Rise Construction seemed to keep throwing money on top of, or prices on top of the things, so we kind of backed away from that.
Because they give you Rise was
And
gonna
is
give you separate
the
engineering.
materials cost locked in here, is it written in here, or was that just a phone conversation?
Say that again?
It's written in here, the material costs
Yes,
are set?
yes. It's broken down in the contract, it shows you exactly
We're
what
not gonna
each
get
thing
a
costs.
change order in 30 days saying
To them, no.
What's your
this,
timeframe?
this $3,000 urinal just got delivered and you guys only budgeted
You know, and that's one of my perpetual pet peeves.
No, I
is
get it. I'm with you.
Contractors
I don't-
buy the contract and then change order it into their profits.
Which is why he asked the question, I shot the email, just to
Alright.
double check that, and the email says, I mean, I read it to you, right? So, sorry, someone else had a question there? There was something in there? A time frame. They're saying somewhere in July, August if we do this now, so. Which again is
Plans are
pretty
there
good timing.
already, so. You just say that legal reviews the contract.
Just
and-
as soon as he's done reviewing the contract, if it's available, can you
Is
sign it?
cedar still usable as a roofing?
It's cement in the shape of cedar, you gotta kind of read through the whole
It
thing.
says cedar.
I understand. You kind of have to read through the whole thing. It's a
Alright.
concrete building.
All right, so it's not shaped
Cedar,
No,
wood?
no.
Okay.
that's what it says, cedar shake.
You gotta kind of
That's
read
why I'm
through the whole thing. It's a 100% cement building. Concrete
So we
building.
should put in the word concrete,
It should be in there.
because that's not what it says. All right, anyway,
You're
I'm
messing
using-
around.
You're gonna end up
Read
with a
it.
cedar shake roof on your
I know.
concrete bathroom over there is what you're gonna end up with.
with the fire department sitting on it, saying, what the hell are you doing?
Pass the code, yeah. Okay.
I think that's all I had. Let me double check here.
Well, you, with pool pumps, we're replacing everything.
That's a
Yep, well, it's all been
long
ordered. and
Page.
Just kind of,
Are they going with the right size?
no, I decided to go smaller.
Cause that's what was in there, it was
Well, I
small.
understand what was in
So are
there.
they going with the
Yes, we're
correct
going with
size
the
pumps?
appropriate size
Okay,
for the size of our pool out here.
alright, and you got your gators coming,
Gators are coming.
basic gators.
Yes, sir.
windshield and roof.
So you and I,
Nice.
Jed, you and I will be on the phone tomorrow, okay?
That's fine,
I can see stuff already, but let's not take up all this time.
okay.
And you have a plan for blades, right?
That was part of that conversation with the lottery money, although this drainage thing, I think.
We don't
is a
need blades
priority.
until the fall, winter time, so we're pretty
I'm
good.
sure they'll be cheaper then,
Yes, maybe.
or not. They,
You know what's funny is that you let them know about lottery money, what they do is they, Jed's the only one that's actually looking at spending your money too. so.
Yeah.
Hey, it's
Spend
allocated for Park and
everybody's
Rec.
we had a meeting about it, I don't know, anyway,
Gotcha.
you know, what you wanna spend your money on, you guys decide. Are you gonna need plows? You guys decide if you wanna spend it now or later.
I say you look for them
Jed.
throughout the year.
Okay, that's fine.
Jed and a bigger
There's no
shovel.
reason to get them right this minute. You need the gators and some buckets
You guys are the bosses,
and some
huh?
weed pullers.
I understand what, yeah. We got a whole bunch of stuff we need, but we'll leave it at that.
Cool.
Any other questions?
When are we gonna hear about the final decision? When are we gonna start seeing the stuff on drainage?
You mean price wise?
He just got to see the
Price.
prices.
Time frame, all that stuff.
I mean, I met with him today, hopefully we have it in the next few days,
Alright.
so. How do you want me to proceed with that once I get it, just email it to all of
Yeah,
you?
shotgun it out to everybody to look at. Get it, just a consensus. We can ratify it at the next meeting and go ahead and engage with the contract. So,
As soon as I get it, I'll shoot it out to you guys. You guys talk and figure out what you wanna do.
but I mean, if we can get on it like right now and we can get
I
the
agree.
contract done and we can get a cost break and overall getting the whole thing done in one shot, then it's a win.
You got it.
I mean, even if we save 10, 20 grand, 10, 20 grand go a long way.
I agree. You can get like more cows with that.
I mean, how many miles do you think you need?
I just like to get under your skin.
We'll get you guys some more of those little shovels, those little long shovels with wheels.
Those are broken, we need to buy some new ones. But just-
I was really surprised you didn't try to tell them you can get enclosures for that.
We are getting enclosures, I'm just not telling you.
They do make little tents that they can wear while they're doing that.
You guys are vicious, man. These guys are out there at 5 o'clock in the morning. It is pretty cold out there. And I will leave it at that.
Saving your pizza boxes, duct tape them together.
I used to work at.
Let's settle this. Wally,
It's your business.
does your gator have a full enclosure?
They don't go plowing at 5 in the morning.
Nope,
Do you go out at 5 in the morning?
I don't have a plow.
Do you ever go out 5 in the morning?
No.
There's my answer.
I go out at 5 in the morning.
I'm still trying to see how you're
For a
gonna
few
put,
hours?
how are you gonna put a closure on that
I'm just
ATV?
asking, I don't know.
My ATV
I
has
feel
a
bad. I
blade
would like
on
to do
it.
the right thing by
And
our
I do
staff,
most
that's all.
most of my little block over there, I do with my ATV. You don't have no damn enclosure on it.
Neither
Put a
does your
mask on.
ATV.
Fair enough.
You
I
dress
agree, I
warm.
know.
They sell hand warmers and,
We'll buy extra of those, okay?
Okay, can we move on?
yes, we can.
Fair enough.
All right, JD, what do you got for us? Water report, item 10.
Alright, so, the day before our last board meeting, we mentioned there was a fire hydrant that we had freshly hit. So the details is that it was, hit in the early hours of 2 AM, of the 23rd of February. This was a hit and run, and it broke the hydrant, it broke the main, so we had lost 325,000 gallons of water. The fire hydrant was replaced with a new one, so we have a new Kennedy that's there, and it was returned to service on 3/8/22. And the update with all those hydrants that were hit prior to that, newest one at that time, they've all been replaced and put back into service.
So the only hydrant out of the three that we could possibly get anything back on is
The one that was hit
in front of the school?
right, for right now.
And what, have you heard anything from his insurance company? Are they doing anything?
We are gonna turn in the claim to the insurance company next week, but we haven't got the last of the invoice of that repair. It's not in the report, but we'll do a follow-up on that for next, meeting there. So the week of that 21st of February through the 25th, there we also noted that we had that very extreme cold spell. And so that those after-hour calls for the on-call person nailed it for frozen water meters and pipes. There were reported about 7 calls. There were 7 meters that were replaced. There were been a whole lot more calls that were probably were solved by the homeowners who tell them to just open up the cabinets, whatever the freezing lines were, or if it was in a garage, get heat to the water meter by putting in place a heater there, and then turn on your faucet, but let it just trickle out slow so you don't break the pipe. So we encourage that the next time we have a cold spell, maybe the community that are listening, or those who would be listening, just run your faucet just a little drip. It'll prevent your pipes from freezing up, or keep your house a little bit warmer. Some measures is open up your cabinetry, that if you have an outside wall where your plumbing is, just open up the cabinetry so that the air can circulate and you won't have frozen pipes. Just a suggestion. We had an issue here with our filter plant across the way from our meeting place. It was caused by well LFH5 that we recently had put down in the ground and lowered it. Water qualities have improved, and we returned our plant to its normal operation. So we're going to see a little bit better water quality coming out of that plant. For the SCADA upgrade, the update here, 317 is underway for filter plant 1, 5-star automation program and testing the new PLCs. It's ready for installation. We're thinking about next week, on the week of 28th, that will go into effect. Also, that for the month, from the last board meeting until this report, we had installed 8 new meters in our district, and we have done all of our preventative maintenance in our plants. Bentgrass and Falcon Marketplace, they're still in the development phases. It looks like Dutch Bros is going to be the first to break ground. Shortly thereafter, there will be some ones that will follow. And there'll probably be quite a few that probably break ground about the same time. Looking at about 5 businesses that are going to break ground around about that time. Our water quality report is that our regular bag tea samples were collected. They came back good. We didn't have no groundwater calls as of this time of the meeting. Our fire hydrant maintenance, right now we have no fire hydrants are out of service. Everything's all 100%. And then just a reminder about our district-wide meter upgrade. We have reminded the residents in the last e-blast in our mailing of that letter for the upcoming water meter upgrade starting in May 22. That went out in the February's billing starting April 4th. You get on the meter change out list for the appointment. They can do that via the website. There'll be a spot for residents to go to that to schedule an appointment, or they can call the district office and schedule appointments that way as well.
Okay.
Any questions for me?
How big of a concern do we have with them running all this new fiber optic stuff? We talked about it yesterday briefly.
You need something to drink? You need anything to drink?
So mention the locates that you, the residents, if they're seeing this, they're seeing their yards marked up with all kinds of paint flags. This is with Mountain View Electric running their build out of their internet program that they are offering to all the customers in their service area. We happen to be the first to be started with. Locates, there was mentioned in the previous financials there that they were going up just because of the workload that's been placed on their district for those locates to be making sure that our infrastructure is marked clearly and make sure it would not get hit. So far, we haven't had an incident with anything is with the boring, as long as our, well, I would knock on wood. Mistakes happen, but we hope that it doesn't. So by, as I was mentioned by you, John, that I was looking around to make sure if things are being potholed like they're supposed to on our infrastructure, just looking out for our best interests to make sure that we're not out of service for something that's being done in the district by other vendors. So that's, the answer to that is I'm making sure that doesn't happen as best we can.
So, this is a silly question, I know, but right in the middle of the driveway going into the district office, there's a manhole cover. Who does that belong to?
That's ours.
There was one of their workers out there yesterday with 2 shovels trying to get that manhole cover off.
Really, that's
Well-
illegal.
Yeah, they're not supposed to open up our manholes.
Well, I know now. I didn't know that yesterday.
Call me.
You guys were out together. Actually, you almost hit me when I turned on Del Rio.
Interesting.
I missed it.
So why would they be in that?
Don't know.
Well, if they were to look for a depth, they shouldn't be opening those manholes at all. Our sewers are quite deeper than our water mains for the most part. So if they're maintaining a depth of 24 to 36 inches, there would have been no need for them to open up that manhole.
I don't know if the guy ever got it. It was comical. I had to sit there for a minute and watch him try to stick one shovel in and then try to stick another shovel in. And he, 3 or 4 minutes that I, from the time I got in my car, watched him, and then I drove away. He was still unsuccessful. And you guys should have seen him because you pulled in right after that, but maybe he had given up by then.
You're assuming
Well,
they're.
he almost hit you, so he's obviously not paying that much attention.
Maybe I hit him, I don't know.
Have you guys done any research on that MBA project for that fiber optic system?
That's where I got the mail from it.
Oh, yeah, if you go online, they actually third party, so I imagine they got some sort of huge grant. The bigger thing is that they're putting in rural internet fiber optic, and they're planning on doing it from here all the way out to Lyman, as far as I understand, which is a really, really cool program. They're currently carving up my front yard, so,
Your
as
brand
far
new
as-
sprinkler system.
yeah, they missed, but they did almost nail the power line that was marked 3 feet off, down 3 houses, so they had to call somebody out and come out and had gas and electric out there looking at the hole, because the power line was 3 feet off the mark, whoever located it, so.
Did Mr. Everett get a hold of you?
What would you get a hold of me for?
He sent me a message yesterday, he's looking for a job.
No,
I gave him your number.
no.
That's not funny, Jerry.
JD,
All right.
there's no insurance in here. Oh, wrong. Good, Jay. There's no insurance in here. There's no insurance requirement.
What?
I'll look at it.
It's got other issues, but that's a big one.
Hey, Mo.
It isn't even for them to carry insurance. It isn't even mentioned.
I'll let you guys work that out.
Okay, I'm just sitting here while you all are chatting.
Thanks, JD. Wastewater, item 11.
We all done, JD?
Well, there was one comment about insuring the fire hydrants. And we picked out 47, I believe, to have insured in the district, which is bare minimal for the insurance. But one fire hydrant hit would be the equivalent of one replacement fire hydrant, not the installation cost. So it'd be really good to have it, but it will cover the installation cost. So if we had 3 fire hydrants that hit, would it be a deductible, which I don't. $1,000 deductible for a $17,000 fire hydrant replacement if it got that bad.
You can't put concrete poles like they do in front of long rings around those things, so.
He's just talking about this new subdivision, what are
In district is 8, I think, tap feet. In district 80,
they, 8,500, is it?
out of district 14,000 and something.
Depending on the tap size, but yeah.
Yes.
3/4.
Rough estimate.
3/4, that's about what it is.
So this new subdivision that you're talking about just getting started,
Are they at the $8,000 level?
Which one?
Talk about that later, Ted.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, we're not there yet.
okay.
That was the 30,000 foot view I gave, we'll talk about the rest later.
There you go. Cool.
All right,
I'm good.
we'll go to Wally on item 11, wastewater report, but before I forget, we had talked about, with Randy Case's property that he requested over there on that corner by 7-Eleven a few meetings ago. We talked about what size taps they would require for those three family homes that they were planning on stuffing in there, those 69 units. They were like 3 and 4 units. Did we find out if it's one large tap going into each building, or if it's each individual tap going into those buildings?
I don't know if we're never figured that out, so it's something unfortunately in our spec book, we've never dealt with high density buildings.
I
like
looked
that.
in there, and we don't have anything on high density in there.
No,
and
so
that's-
we're working on that, trying to get something in there to,
There should be instruction now from El Paso County because they're doing that HDF builder, in, Banning Lewis. So they should probably have something on file that you can work with.
Actually, we would have to go like to CSU or Strathmore would be one of them. Any of the water districts that allowing these high density homes to see what their plan is as far as servicing them and their requirements, and rather than trying to come up with one on our own, that we can see what someone else already has done and probably make modifications to that
Okay.
and to
Well,
adopt.
I just wanted to keep that fresh, because I know we hadn't heard anything back yet, and I know we had not made any movement on the property there.
Yeah, is there any further discussion, because the last time we voted down,
Weren't you waiting for the
69 units,
plots?
so.
You were waiting to know what exactly they were gonna.
No,
put
that
in?
was the 6,
That's what it does.
that was the 6 commercial plots, right? This is the 69, high density units going in,
Aspen homes.
yeah, right next to the 7-Eleven there on the corner.
There was another discussion about 100 units coming in, and we said no on
Yeah.
that.
Well, that was the Randy Case property, but
Right.
they now changed it again, now it's 69
Okay.
units.
That went from 25 to 100?
It went from 25 to 100, now it's showing on paper as 69, plus a little piece of commercial there. So that's the only reason I asked, because that's becoming a pretty, and it's gonna come with the other thing too. And Falcon Fields
Falcon Fields
is looking at turning a lot of theirs into high density. So that's why I ask, is it one, like, 3/4, 1 inch tap that goes in, and then they split it?
Those are working with the inspector and the engineer on that, to try and
Okay.
get the specs on that.
Alright,
Yeah, 'cause I don't want one sewer line in there that holds 7 units, it's got screwed up.
but I mean, it's something we need to know, because if we're gonna make a decision on accepting those properties, we need to know what all it's gonna, how much impact it's gonna have on not only the wastewater plant, but our water,
Yep.
especially Fingrass, so. Cool, alright, fire away.
Alrighty, so, Five Star Automation, came out 2 weeks ago, ran an Ethernet cable. Basically bypassed the current SCADA system and tapped into the main brains of it, so made a program on it. So we have working alarms now from the wastewater plant. We got a list of, like, 400 some alarms we gotta go through and test, see what works, what doesn't. At least the big stuff now we're getting alarms for. I alluded to in here, unfortunately, they did that on Wednesday, the previous Saturday night, one of the blowers shut off, the VFDs overheated. We didn't get an alarm on it, so for most of the weekend, we didn't have air going in the plant, lost most of the process. We were able to get it back, put a blower on Monday morning, and Thursday we were able to take tests. So we never came out of compliance, but it was close. And you guys know we cannot afford to have a violation on that plant, so kinda dodged a bullet on that one. Yeah, we're gonna jet on the stormwater drainage, all the Reg 85 data from 2021 has been submitted. CMR is complete for February. Once again, we passed our first quarter wet test. I like what you're saying, Troy. Right behind 7-Eleven is a little Bentgrass commercial filing 3. There's 6 plots in there. Previous management had given a kind of a free-for-all letter to them on SFEs, but that didn't suffice for the county. So I worked with their engineer, gave him a will serve letter. So then we'll allocate the SFEs as they give us plans as to what's actually going on in 6 plots. So they should be going to start putting a road structure in. And Jed posted 2 of my positions on Facebook and Indeed, and trying to set up 3 to 4 interviews for next week. So hope my next board meeting should be fully staffed again with the wastewater plant. Still working on plans with Bentgrass and Falcon Marketplace. Had some issues with Bentgrass with quality issues on the sewer system. So I'm trying to work through that.
Wasn't there like 7 or something that they had installed but didn't install properly?
Correct.
So were they fixing those?
So some are minor, that kinda had to make a judgment call on some of them, but there are a couple you have to dig up and redo. But going forward, we're gonna be watching a lot closer. Just, again, I don't wanna come down the road 4 or 5 years from now, and we're stuck with a $40,000 bill to dig up a problem they created, so. What do we got here? So, still got people looking at the vac truck, and some are right now in Pennsylvania, some dude's talking to their city council, trying to get funds for this thing, so I'm hoping they approve it.
Have we shopped that around to the, I mean, will that work for pumping out porta johns?
No. It's not flexible enough to get in for something like that. But a lot of places are looking at it for, like sucking up leaves.
Yeah.
We thought about using it for this entire crude squad I've been dropping in that line for MBEA. It's a separate company. They've got their side crews out here working, and I saw them with a little canister back that they've been using. That might be a good opportunity for them if you just walk by and give them a flyer with it. Just drop off a flyer and just say, hey, we have one of these for sale.
Wouldn't that be rich to sell that thing to NBA?
You know? Just a thought.
Let's see. Director and Carter met with Meridian Ranch for some ADA issues. So UE compression came out on Monday, pulled the 125 horse motor out of blower number 3. It's gonna go in the shop. Ultimately, it's gonna end up being a new motor, but because of how it went down, so a new motor is almost $50,000. Nothing's set in stone, but most of it should be covered under warranty, so our cost should be pretty minimal. So they're hoping sometime in April to come back with a new motor, or they keep thinking this one can be rebuilt, but you can't snap a 2-inch shaft in an electric motor and expect to fix it, so. Should have a new motor coming.
Do we have a replacement? You guys got a standby or?
We have a backup one. The problem with it is so when it was shipped, there's some rating on it was off. There's nothing wrong with it, it would work. But the electrical connection is on the side, and all the main wiring coming into it, the current ones go on top. So you're looking at another $10,000 to $12,000 to re-roll out the wiring that will come into the side of that thing. So we still got 2 blowers, so we decided to just go with what we have. So we'll still have a brand new motor sitting there in case we ever did need it. Hope we don't. We changed the on-call schedule around. Guys seem pretty happy with that. Got a sanitary survey coming up on May 10th. So we're gonna make sure we get all our ducks in a row for the state. The bar screen, working with our engineers, not really happy with boosters right now. The original plans, I walked through exactly what we wanted, and they had everything swapped around. So got kind of nasty with them, they changed stuff around, they still had it screwed up. So 2 days ago, finally resubmitted the plans again. So one of these times I'll get it right. And
That's the bar scan that we actually approved for last year, that was part of your budget?
yep.
It's supposed to be ordered and we had pre-ordered that to come in.
They were supposed to have been, the original products were supposed to come in January,
Right.
be installed in February.
Okay. March, going into April.
Yeah, so June, July maybe. Oh, and as Ted knows, my work email was compromised on Tuesday, so it sent out a ton of stuff asking for invoice information from vendors out of my county and Jerry's. So IT locked my stuff out for about 3 hours, got rid of it, fixed
So you
it.
called me.
I don't know why they called you, because I called them.
He did a password reset.
And something, yeah, I don't know much about this stuff, just watching the dude click around on my computer, he's got going into rules and, he goes, what's this rule you made here? And I'm like, dude, I don't even know how you got to that. It's,
So have they set up to MFA yet for the whole district yet?
No,
Okay,
that's coming up. That's the next project.
okay. All right.
Thank you, sir.
that's it.
Any questions for Wally? So you're the one I needed to have Mr. Everett call. You get the job openings.
I do have a question for you, Mr. Wally.
Yes, Mr. Martin?
What percent are we at?
That's up for discussion later.
All right.
Awesome. Cool, thank you.
Okay, item 12, items unfinished from previous meeting.
Those two resolutions.
Are they
Did you
from
assign
previous
them?
meeting? I thought they were.
Yeah, well, they were, oh, sorry.
You get them after.
They kind of the same, but yeah.
Board follow up on order items. None? All right, item 14, public comment regarding current board business not on the agenda. You're up, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, I'm a volunteer to make a short presentation. Let me tell you about my background. I'm a retired Air Force officer. I was a B-52 pilot and an FB-111 pilot. The squadron and bomb wing that I was in, flying 111s, was the same bomb squadron and wing that dropped the bombs on Japan. 509th Bomb Wing and 393rd Bomb Squadron. So I have a lot of history dealing with nuclear weapons. I got out of active duty, later went in the reserves, and I went to Nuclear Emergency Team Operations School in Albuquerque, and I worked in civil engineering mitigating nuclear disasters. So I have a lot of history dealing with the effects of nuclear weapons. The reason I thought that it might be appropriate to speak to someone in this community is, if you look at Colorado Springs, we probably have as much or more potential nuclear targets than any place in the United States. That might be a good reason to put Space Command in Alabama. But Woodman Hills, we're almost 10 miles from a potential nuclear target. Well, 10 miles is where you start having quite a few survivors, especially if you're in a basement or in some kind of a shelter, if there were some kind of a nuclear detonation. Therefore, I thought maybe it would be appropriate to talk to who might be the leaders of the community that would have potential survivors, because you might be tasked with giving people advice and stuff like that. So what I wanted to do is, I passed out a card to you. That was a card I used to carry, a little 3-5 card that SAC crew members used to carry in case they got shot down in enemy territory where there was nuclear war going on. Kind of give you advice as to what to do. I kind of made up a list of things to think about. In the event of a nuclear detonation, take shelter from fallout for 17 days. That's when the half-life decreases to where it's not something that's gonna affect you much. One can exit the shelter for 10 minutes after E+8 days and 30 minutes max after E+12 days. So this is to keep you safe. You should be wearing a face mask anytime a nuclear detonation goes off. This prevents the alpha and beta radiation from entering your mouth or your body and your nose. The alpha and beta radiation has a very short half-life. It cannot penetrate the skin like gamma rays can. That's why you should wear a mask. Time and distance from ground zero are your friends. Obtain some potassium iodide tablets to keep on hand. Here's an example of what is on the market called IOSAT. You can go on Amazon and buy them in the bottle, iodine tablets, 130 milligrams a day for 10, 12 days, should protect you. The problem with radioactive iodine, which is a byproduct of a nuclear detonation, is that it can enter your thyroid and create potential thyroid cancer up to 10 years after you're exposed. The iodine saturates your thyroid so it will not absorb radioactive iodine. For children, affecting the thyroid stunts their growth. Order a book called Nuclear War Survival Skills. It gives you a lot of information on what you should do in case of a nuclear war. There's a book I recommend, it's called Black Rain. The author's name was Ibusi. He was a Japanese doctor, and he was in Hiroshima the time the bomb went off in Japan. And he barely survived. But remember, the Japanese knew nothing about radiation or nuclear weapons or fallout. And a lot of these Japanese people went back into the devastated areas right away to help rescue people. They didn't wear masks or anything like that. So a lot of people died unnecessarily because they didn't take a bath after they did this, and they didn't wear masks just by being in the Black Rain area. But I recommend this book. It's very enlightening. Also, this Japanese doctor postulated the idea that if your hair fell out within a couple days, you were probably going to die. His hair fell out, but he did not die. And you can read through this book and understand why he did it, because he had a diet that was very high in vitamin C, the fruits and vegetables that he ate. And that is one thing that you should consider after a nuclear fallout situation, is take lots of vitamin C. 1,000 to 4,000 milligrams a day is not unreasonable. It's very interesting to note that radiation poisoning mimics one common historical disease, and that is scurvy. They're both caused by the same problem, and the cure is the same for both. Take lots of vitamin C. Very interesting. So keep a good supply of vitamin C around. This is kind of a neat little gadget to own. It's called a Nuke Alert. You can order them. It's called NUKALERT.com, or even go on Amazon. They cost about $160, but they have a 10-year battery life, and they will tell you if there's any radiation coming in. It'll even tell you how much. There's a little chart on the back. And if it starts chirping a lot, that tells me that there's a detonation that went off somewhere and you're getting lots of radiation, so that's when you need to take shelter. Plan to stock your shelter or basement with food and water, waste buckets, put your waste in, cleaning supplies, and anything that your imagination can create. Nuke preparation is a state of mind. That's all I have to say. If you have any questions, call me.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you.
Can we keep these?
Yes, that's a collector's item.
All right. Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Well, your website, Woodland Hills website, does it tell where you hold your monthly meetings or when you hold your monthly meetings? Maybe for the knowledge of the public, shouldn't that be on there,
It was on the front page.
on the front page? Maybe it does say that on the front page, but it doesn't say where.
Yeah, the classified list is addressed and it's on our documents.
I don't know, something, just check.
Sure, yeah, we'll check it.
You don't have any water in there? Bottled
The
water?
last one?
Huh?
Can I take the last one?
Okay.
Whoever takes the last one.
I wanted some water. You're good? You'll
We'll take
take
the water.
Yeah, you take.
Is that
Food
water?
water.
You feel water?
I'm sorry.
Man, tough crowd, dude.
Thanks, Jed.
Corey always had that fridge stocked.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
No copier over here anymore, there's fridges in stock.
Yeah.
Can you look on there and
Fruits,
make sure
vegetables,
that
and
we
science
be-
It's there.
lunch,
I just looked, there's a website right there, it's in the top left-hand corner.
What was that, John?
He said Corey used to cater food in for the board.
That was the only thing she did, right?
That's what he said. Don't get mad at me, I didn't say it.
Oh, yeah.
She can eat all blades.
So if you ever wanna know, if you
That's
go
what
under the
Dad
hot
was
topics at
like.
the bottom, it's in there.
Okay.
With the agenda, meeting location and stuff.
You wanna be sure, because if you're not seeing it, then.
Yeah, I wanna
we
make sure we're.
Maybe
Yeah.
we need to pronounce it better somewhere else or make it more seen.
All right, with no public comment, I will motion that we enter executive session for determined positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, that being under Colorado Revised Statute 246402-4E. And these are gonna be namely matters related to Paintbrush Hills, Grandview, and Four-Way Ranch.
Troy, I do need to add a conversation in there about Meridian.
And Meridian Ranch.
ND 49.
ND 49, ND 20, D 12.
Just wondering.
49, okay.
One of the districts.
He does have.
So the motion is on the table.
You are in smack.
Second, second by John, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're gonna enter executive session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for bringing
In public session. All right, we've skipped, there's a blank on 16. So, would,
It's a blank.
there's a blank on 16. Item 17, other business, and that's where we'll cover these. First is this is a certificate of resolution, explain this.
So these are the board resolutions to approve the refinance of the current COP lease and the current revenue bond. So it's not new money, it's just the existing money. We're refinancing them to go to a flat rate that's fixed over a fixed amount of years.
And with that, it's gonna, it needs to be two motions here on this one.
That was an hour ago.
Find the right page here,
You want some help turning the page?
maybe.
It'll cost you.
right? I'm sure it will. So the first resolution that I'll entertain a motion on is, this is the resolution refinancing the lease purchase agreement between Woodman Hills Public Facilities Leasing Trust, 2016 as the lessor, and Woodman Hills Metropolitan District, acting by and through the Water and Wastewater Enterprises as the lessee. We have to record the vote for this, so can I get a motion to approve the resolution refinancing those bonds?
I'll make the motion to approve the resolution refinancing the bonds.
Okay. Or, I'm sorry, the lease purchase agreement,
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for the lease purchase agreement.
Okay,
Now second.
and a second by Neil. No other discussion on it? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No? And we have one absent, so. Yes, and one absent. All right, and so that resolution carries, and then we'll go to this is the certificate of resolution for the refinance of the revenue refunding bonds for water and wastewater. And explain that one, same?
Same, it's just because they're two separate transactions.
And this saves the district,
The COP lease is the one that saves the district the most amount. It saves $19 million on its own because of future interest payments. The way the COP lease was originally set up, it had a maturity date of 2025, and at that point, the interest rate went up quite a bit, and the interest rate, or interest payments from 2025 to the end of the loan, the term,
44.
would have been $19 million had we stayed with it. Doing this, we get out of that.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve this resolution.
Make a motion to approve the resolution for refinance of revenue refunding bonds.
Second.
Okay, got a motion by Neil and a second by John. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No, and one absent. Motion carries. It's missing a signature block. So this one has the signature on it, this one only has the secretary on it.
Is that the motion?
That's the revenue refunding bonds, so yeah, those important ones. I have it, I'll sign them here when we're done.
Check money.
They're approved. All right, we're gonna move on to this other resolution so we can get out of here. What is this other resolution here? Is this the,
There's only two.
yeah, I think this is the one we just approved. I think this is the back piece of it. Here, come look at this.
Yeah, I think.
I'm looking at the-
I think it's this.
Original documents.
Well, I think this is part of that back, this is,
So this is this
so this should have been,
with this.
right?
They're almost identical.
Yeah, so this should have went with that, the second piece. Here, double check with your documents. but I believe we just approved this one. Cause that one, there just has a secretary signature page, but the one, it reads just a little bit different than this one.
This has got this,
Here, I'll sign it.
and then this is.
Yeah, that's correct. The revenue bond only has the voting and then Neil as the secretary.
Okay,
It doesn't have a signature block.
so what's that one to?
Actually, no, it does have a signature block for president.
That's the signature block, and the rest of it right there, I believe.
Just-
Cause the wording's different on that there.
Resolution. And there's the certificate of resolution.
I believe, I think
That
that's
one's right.
That one,
The
that
one
one,
that you just signed.
and then there's that one.
This is the revenue bond. Yeah,
And then
And
this.
then this.
and then that goes with it.
Okay. So we're good.
We're good.
All right. I know we're out of here before 11. I like it.
What? I gotta drive 2 hours yet for an 8 o'clock meeting tomorrow.
What's the meeting? Oh, Jay.
Yeah. No, it's on the phone.
Okay, can I get a motion for adjournment?
I motion we adjourn.
All right, and I'll second that motion. Any other discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I didn't think so.
Jed, let's get this
Have a good
down.
weekend.
Jed?